I'm getting really good at that. So, welcome to another episode of the ORG podcast. Glad you're tuning in. Today we talk to Katherine Whitten of Retainer Arts Ortho Lab here in Texas with me. We're enjoying the heat together. So anyway, we are. What is the ORG? The ORG is the Orthodontic Resource Group. Let me share my screen real quick. This is our website. We are probably the only orthodontic lab association. So hopefully you are a member. If not, what are you waiting for? I do like to show off our member directory. It shows a nice big map, and all the blue dots here are all the labs. We're all across the whole nation. We just help each other out and enjoy talking to each other. Today, let's pick one. Let's go with Idaho. Who's this? Gill Orthodontic Lab. So Gill Orthodontic Lab, if you're watching, say hi over there in Idaho. So anyway, I also have another announcement, and that is also found on the front page. You may have already seen it. We are selling our, I can't get this in the picture, ORG t-shirts, the ones that we gave away at the conference. If you came to the conference, if you didn't, we are selling the extra ones that we have. And if you go to the front page, there is an official ORG merch site. You can click on that and you can see the sizes we have left. I'll try to update these as best as possible, but it won't let you buy it if not. But, you know, 9 small, medium, large, all that stuff. But we do have it's got the ORG logo on the front, and on the back, it's got all the lab names, all the member labs of the ORG as of March 2023 when we made the t-shirt. So if you've joined after that, you'll have to wait till next year to get your t-shirt. But you can see here, we have all of the labs here. But so we do have a few left, so make sure you get them while you can. Get them for your spouse. So if you did pick up one up at the conference, get another one for your spouse or your kid or whoever you want. So that way, you know, when we're at the conference, as you can see in the picture on the homepage, we're all wearing the same t-shirt. We're in this together is our motto. Together we know more. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on Katherine because I really like talking with her. Hello, Katherine. How you doing?
Hey, doing good. How are you?
Good. I guess I should call you Kathy. That's what you put in your lower third. So you go by either one?
I go by Kathy. And then I met my husband, and he calls me Katherine. So everyone I know through him calls me Katherine, but everyone else calls me Kathy. So either
okay.
one.
You just answer, you know, whatever, don't call you late for dinner kind of thing.
Yeah, or anything. Yeah, definitely not late for dinner or dessert. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. So we were talking before, if you don't know, Katherine's a member. And the memberships actually start at $50 for one person lab. We kept it easy to join as a member. And I think you're at a one person lab, and I think I'm at a 2-person lab because it's me and my wife. And then the prices go up from there. So it goes from $50 to $250 depending on what size you are. Just to be fair to you small labs out there, you pay your fair share, I guess is what it's called.
Yeah, that was great. That was great. It helps a lot.
Yeah, I'm a part of a Texas association. I'm trying to push them to do the same thing because it's $250 across the board, whether you're one person or 70-person lab. It's the same price. So I thought the membership prices were good for that they came up with when we started. But also talk about the conference. You said if y'all don't know, she works behind the scenes a lot with us. She's on every conference call about the conference and things. And then she worked behind the scenes. I think you packed a lot of these. You did all the swag bag, right?
That was an awesome swag bag too. I mean,
it was. Yeah, I actually have this thing. My notebook I have notes that was in there, and then t-shirt was in there. She helped pack that along with a lot of other members. And then also you worked the front desk, so you got to meet and greet a lot of people. You said that was fun.
Yeah, I love to meet new people, but I'm not real good at going up and saying, hey, so working the desk is a good way to meet people and if they have questions and stuff.
They're forced to come to you.
Yes, they have to come to me because I'm not going to go up to you. So it was fun.
If you want a badge, come see me. Come say hi. Be friendly. So usually, how I usually start these things, we're both in Texas, so we're enjoying this 105 degree heat right now, and
Yes.
and you're near
Plants are
Houston, so that's even
dying.
worse.
Yeah, my plants. Well, not to mention we have armadillos. I could not figure out why my plants were being ripped out. We have holes in the yard, and my plants are
We
ripped
do
out.
too.
So when I came home from the hospital at like 3 a.m, and I'm driving, and my headlights hit this thing, and I was like, "What is that?" I thought it was a bunny, because we have a bunny that's in our yard, and it was armadillos. So I was like, "That's what's pulling up my plant." So today I got some armadillo stuff that I'm hoping will keep them out of my yard, because I want to do the front yard, but if they keeps getting pulled up.
Yeah. Yeah, my wife was like, come here, I got to show you this. And we walked by, and there was just right along the edge of our house, there were just little tiny little holes. And all I was like, oh, yeah, that's armadillos, that 100%. So we meant to set up a camera. No, except they'll scare you if you walk up to them, they jump straight up in the air. Like, sorry, go about your business.
Yeah, just do it out of my yard.
Yeah, but welcome to Texas and the heat and
Yes.
the armadillos that come tear up our yards. so we both work from home, and so you're in your lab in your converted garage, and I'm in my building that's at the end of my driveway. But I usually ask these questions: how in the world did you ever find out about the ortho lab world?
Well, I started as an assistant right out of high school. I worked for an orthodontist, and I loved it. Working with teenagers and hearing their stories of things they do, because they're in your chair once a month. They just open up. So that was fun. But at the beginning, when I first worked there, we were small enough that we would make our own retainers in-house.
Oh, wow.
So I would learn how to do that. And so I did make some in-house retainers and expanders, the basic stuff. And then our lab lady, she would come and deliver and stuff like that. And I was a single mom. And, when you're working in the orthodontic field, you schedule your patients at least 6 weeks out. So I would always miss my daughter's programs during school, all of that stuff. So I was talking to our lab lady, and she was like, you should go to school, and you make your own schedule and all of this and all of that. And so I looked into it. So in 2000, so I worked for him for 10 years. And then,
oh, wow, a whole decade as an assistant.
10 years. Well, I started with him in 80. I got married 80, graduated 80s. I started working with him January of 89. And then I left in 2000 me and my daughter moved to San Antonio so I could go to school.
The same school?
Yeah, you graduated right after me.
That's right. Yeah, we talked about this. Yeah.
You were right after me. So yeah, I thought that was kind of funny. And
yeah, we walked the same halls for 1 year at least. Yep. Yeah. Y'all were mean to us. School. No, I'm kidding.
Well, no, just Mr. Davis, but I almost got kicked out of school because we had, I knew how to make retainers. So there was one of the girls there, and she needed a retainer. I was like, I'll make you a retainer. What's the big deal? So I made her a holly. And Mr. Davis called me in his office one day, and he was like, you made her a holly? I'm like, yeah. She said she needed one. It's just a holly. He goes, her dad is a dentist.
Oh.
You can't do that without a prescription. I was like, whoa, okay. He goes, I really should dismiss you, kick you out of school. You should not.
Oh.
I was like, okay. I was like, what am I going to do now? But he ended up not. So he just said, don't do it again. I was like, oh no, I won't do that again. So
being ignorant is a good thing sometimes. I'll make you. Being too nice can get you in trouble.
Yeah, I mean, it's a retainer. How hard it's not going to move your teeth, but it can. But so that was fun, and it was good times in school. It was really weird hanging out with our class. We had some people that were older than me because they were trying to get into dental school, or
Mhm.
they were already dentists in another country, so they were in lab until they could get into dental school. And then you had the young ones, so I hung out with the young ones. It's hard to hang with the young ones, but it was fun. I had a really good time.
Yeah, that was the most fun. Like, because I went to 4 years of college,
Oh
and
wow.
ran track, cross country. So we had our tight knit group of runners. We were our own like fraternity. We didn't rush for any of that stuff because we were so tight. But man, I went to lab school, and you find your passion,
Yeah.
and you just. I mean, it was easy for me. I don't know if it was for you, but
Oh
and I
yeah.
knew how to make a little bit of retainers. I already knew a little bit, and I think that helped out so much because
Yeah.
so many people struggled, especially
Yeah.
with the wire bending.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, definitely. But I couldn't do crown and bridge because I'm kind of colorblind. So my
Oh, the
colors were
shades and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah,
I couldn't do that. Dentures, I couldn't
it's
scrape,
messy.
yeah. And I was like, I didn't like that. So, and I had already done ortho, so I loved ortho. So I knew that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah,
So we did
yeah.
that.
And I always had the saying, and when everybody was taking the same ortho course, we learned how to bend wire. I said there are two things that flew around the room while everybody was learning how to bend wires, and that was the wires and cuss words. Always, son of a, Anybody see my
Yeah.
Adams clasp?
Well, I have a laser welder, which I'm still trying to, get better at. So the cuss words are still flying. And
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
oh. So yeah, you never get away from that. When new technology comes out, the tears and the cuss words all come back.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think that's what was important about this org. To promote it again is we've really helped each other out through this digital thing.
Yeah.
And we're going to get into that a little bit of what it's like to open a lab when it's full blown digital in the industry. Because you started out as an ortho assistant. Probably 80s there was no digital in there, and then you went to school and you graduated school, and then what happened? We'll get to the
And
digital
then
stuff.
I moved back to Houston, and I worked in a lab for about 3 months, but I didn't like the way it was, the way it was ran, or I just didn't like it. So I thought I'm going to go back to assisting, and I'll see if I could, do their retainers. I'll be an in-house lab.
Yeah.
So I interviewed for, it was a lady. I interviewed for a woman dentist, orthodontist, and it was great. And she hired me on the spot. And I said, let me think about it. And I thought, oh, she's a woman. Do I want to work for a woman? I didn't know. So I said, no, let me wait. So I went back, and I worked. It was another 6 or 7 weeks maybe. And I was like, I can't do this. Let me just see if the spot's still available. So yeah, the spot was still available. So I started working in her office doing her retainers.
What
And
town was this? Was this San Antonio?
Sugarland. No,
Sugarland.
I
Okay.
moved back
Okay.
here because my family
Okay.
was here.
Yeah.
I would love to have stayed in San Antonio, but it was just me and my daughter, and so we moved back here. And so I started working for her, and I had a friend. He was, I can't remember what you call him, but he was the guy at the other lab that would go and get business for the lab.
Like a salesperson.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, like a sales. Yeah.
So he actually came into my doctor's office, and I was like, oh, hey. And he said, if you open your lab, because I was the one who was doing ortho at that other place. So when I left,
You were the whole ortho department.
yeah, he was trying to start ortho because he was a full service lab.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just didn't, I just didn't like the way it was. But so David was like, well, I'll send you business, get a lab. So I talked to my boss, and she was so supportive. She was like, because she only saw patients 3 days a week, but yet I would still go in the other 2 in case we had emergencies and stuff.
Oh, so you still had to use your assistant abilities there too.
I loved that. The teenagers were great. So I got to keep up with that. Plus I got to fit my appliances, which I love.
Oh, that's a learning experience right there.
Yeah, really, because you see if they're biting on, their acrylic, or stuff you need to adjust. So I really, I liked that opportunity. But then for some reason, she started getting allergic to something she could not figure out what it was.
The doctor.
So, yeah.
Oh.
Couldn't figure out, I mean, if it was the gloves or the cold sterile. I mean, we changed everything. And so finally it was so bad, she had to quit.
Oh.
So yeah, she's still my friend though. When I moved to Australia, her and her husband came over. And so it was fun to go drinking wine and seeing the sights with her. So yeah, she's still my friend. She's such a great person. And it was just so great to have someone so supportive, a boss at that, be supportive of you. And she let me use her lab. I just bought my own stuff. And so yeah, that's how I got started in the lab business. And then I started marketing, and I increased and had my own clients. And I was about to the point where I was looking for a place. And I really did need help because, as you know, you work 7 days a week.
Were you in-house? No, that's okay. I was like, did you, when you opened up your work for other doctors, were you in your garage again, or were you in her office doing the work? Okay.
Yeah, she let me use her office, because I was still there to see the emergencies. And so, yeah, and she was so great. I just bought, the stuff that she didn't have that I needed. She didn't even have a pressure pot. So at that time I was using an aqua press at the beginning.
Oh yeah. You got to fill it up with water and then
one at a time.
Yes. Yeah.
But it worked. So then eventually I got a pressure pot. So yeah, you know how it is when you start out, you buy little things at a time. And
that's the great thing about ortho is at that time you could open up an ortho lab really cheaply.
Yes.
Pressure pot, some acrylics, wire, you're good.
Yeah.
So you were, where were we?
I worked for her.
Okay.
And then in 2011, I moved to Australia. So I closed my lab. I found someone who I just gave them my clients because I didn't want to just drop them.
Right.
But none of my clients continued using her. So I felt really bad, because my clients were so good. And so
it's a hard transition for doctors sometimes.
Yeah.
Because I've passed on a few doctors to some lab friends of mine that are closer to them. And then I found out later they dropped them. And I'm like, oh, sorry. Sometimes there's just not a good fit. I truly believe there's a lab for every doctor and a doctor for every lab. And sometimes it's a great fit. Sometimes it's not.
Yeah. You just have to find the right one. I agree.
So what got you to Australia? That is an interesting story in itself.
He was my boyfriend at the time. He moved to Australia, and he didn't know how long he was going to be there at first. So he was there for 3 months, and then it became a long-term contract. And he was like, well, what do you want to do? Do you want to move here or, what? And I'm like, I was to the point, I was ready. I was ready for a change. And I thought, you know what? I'll give up the lab. I'll go to Australia. If it doesn't work out, I can come back and I can move anywhere I want, which I would have moved somewhere cooler. I can move anywhere I want and open up a new lab, So I was like, I'll take the chance. But it ended up, we got married and we were there till 2017. So we were there for
6 years?
Yeah,
7 years? Wow.
Yeah, it was amazing. And I'd always wanted to live there. So it was such a great experience. And I would love to move back there.
I just got a call from a text through my YouTube channel. And she was an in-house lab in Perth.
That's where I lived. I lived in Perth.
Oh, really? I'll have to pass her name to you. Maybe she's trying to take care of your clients you had there.
No, because I couldn't open a lab.
Oh, you couldn't open a lab?
I couldn't even get a job. I interviewed when I was over there. I was looking for labs to work for, and they didn't have a lot. So I ended up interviewing for a denture lab. So my interview was set up a denture, which I haven't done since 2000.
Since the school.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I told him, I said, I've done it, but I don't know what it'll look like. So I did it, and I didn't get the job, so it must have looked pretty bad. But, I was like, okay, it wasn't meant to be. But my husband worked for a company, like a construction, like they do LNG plants and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
So I went to a golf day tournament. I helped work at a golf day thing, and the head, what is she? Executive assistant. They had an open spot, so she asked if I wanted to work. I was like, yeah, and it was office, and it was a great job. I had to schedule a daily walk because they're really into being healthy and work-life balance over there. At 5 o'clock, you leave. You don't work till 6 o'clock. You're off. So I had to schedule walks. So we would go walk the park for 30 minutes, or I had to plan. So that was part of my job. Every morning we had to do daily stretches. So I had to find different people to lead the stretches. And so, yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's nobody knows about that here in America. Maybe Google, working at Google or something. That's probably refreshing.
Yeah, it was so nice to see a different way of life. It was, in fact, one of my friends over there, I still have a friend on Facebook. Her and her husband have 2 little boys. So they bought an RV, and she's working, remotely. So they're traveling the country. They're traveling all over Australia with their kids. They've been doing it. I think she is doing it for 1.5 years or 2 years. I mean, that's something that you wouldn't be able to do that here.
No.
They're like, you want to take off a week? And
right.
over there, they make you take your vacations. One girl had so much, she had to take 6 weeks off at one time. So she had that much, and they make you take it by the end of the year because that's that work-life balance. If you're comfortable, if you're happy at home, you're going to be happier at work. So,
man, okay, wait. Make sure my wife is not listening to this conversation. She might get some ideas. I can take a week off.
Her time off.
Yeah, I think I'm due for 2 years worth of.
Well, just take her to the org meetings. That's a vacation.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's a good.
The kids and not cooking.
Oh yeah. Because I'm always like, bring the kids. They'll have fun. She's like, no, we're not bringing the kids. No. I love them, but I don't want to hang out with them.
No, you need the break. I get it.
Yeah.
That's why I love having grandkids. I get to play with them and send them home. So yeah. It's great.
Well, when did you become a grandmother?
I was actually in Australia. I think it was my first year there. So at 2012, maybe. 2012.
Wow.
Yeah,
was your daughter already back in the United States?
Yeah,
okay.
We had left the kids. They were older. They were graduated high school. So one of them was in college. His daughter was in college in Oklahoma, and my daughter was still trying to figure out what she wanted to do and stuff like that. So yeah, so we left the kids.
That's one way to, time to wake up and support yourself.
Yeah, that's what one of them needed. One of them definitely needed to get on the ball and figure out life. And
yeah, you can call me.
But she had a kid, so the kid and it was a surprise. But she's so sweet, and she's such a good mom. So yeah, it was really a good thing for her.
Sometimes that snaps them out of their own little world is having kids. And I've seen so many people that just. They're just wild child, and then they have their own child, and they're like the perfect parent all of a sudden.
That is her. Now her house is clean, and she didn't even want me to come over if her house is dirty, because I came over when I was in Australia. I was talking to my niece, and I was just joking, and I told her, "Oh my God, my daughter has a layer of dust on her toilet, the back of her toilet." I was kidding. So I was talking to my daughter last week, and I'm just going to come over, but Mom, I haven't cleaned house. I was like, I don't care. You have 3 kids, you work, it's okay. But you said, and I was like, oh my God, I traumatized her because I was joking. So yeah, her
Well,
house is spotless.
yeah, my wife's the same way. Her mother had a perfect spotless house, and now we got 3 kids, and 17 to 7, and
Oh my God.
it's hard to keep it, because we'll be in this building working, and it's separate from the house, and then our 7-year-old daughter's just got the whole house to herself, and
Oh
she
no.
thinks it's her whole house. She'll have a doll house set up here and a fort in another room, and she don't even sleep in her room. So it's
Well, it is her
she,
house during the day.
yeah, and then we walk in when we're done. We're like, what happened in here?
She made herself at home.
Yeah. So how'd you get back from Australia?
So we came back from Australia because that company was shutting down. So we moved back here in 2017, and we moved up to Spring because he was going to be based out of the Woodlands. And even being that far, I mean, that close, I still never really saw our family that much because you know how it is. You get busy, and so we didn't see them that much.
Well,
So
and I've seen on a map they put the whole state of Connecticut over Houston, and Houston was the whole state of Connecticut, all the Woodlands and Sugarland and Spring, and
wow.
it all fit in there. I was like, holy cow! I didn't realize how big Texas is,
Yeah,
and
I didn't
Houston at
realize.
that. Yeah, it takes 3 hours to get from one side to the other. I've only been there a few times, but I don't want to go back.
Yeah, because if you go, what is it, east, there's like nothing.
Oh yeah, and then you
It's like,
you stumble into Louisiana. Like, well, how did I get?
yeah. So
But
yeah, it was
you
good.
went to Spring, but still didn't get to see your family.
No, not a lot, but I did. I wanted to work. I wanted to do something. So I interviewed at a doctor's office to be a treatment coordinator. I hadn't done it, but I had not the title, but I had done the work at other offices where I worked. So I interviewed for it, and I didn't get that. Thank you.
Oh,
Sorry. I
bless you.
just need. Um, but so the doctor came in and said, so you did lab work. Do you want to do lab work or assisting? I said, well, I really love the lab work, but I just want to do something. I miss doing something. And he was like, well, would you be our CDT at a lab? I was like, yeah.
Oh,
So I
this was
worked
a
in the
doctor?
lab. Yeah, it was him and
Wow.
2 other people had a lab up in that area. So it was something new they were going to start. So I worked in the lab, and that was my first experience to digital. I was so used
Mm.
to stone models and all of that. And one of the guys actually owns like a digital workflow business where he sells printers. He sells all this stuff. And like a doctor will say, hey, this is what I want to do. What should I get? So they walk them through the printers and what they should get, how to lay it out, how to use it. It's training, support, everything. So after the lab closed, I think I was there for maybe 2 or 3 years, maybe 2.
Hmm.
I went because I didn't want to work full time. I just wanted to work part time because my husband traveled a lot. So I wanted to have that option to be off
Right.
when he was home so I could actually see him. So I worked part time. So the other people went with the doctor, and I went with the digital guy. So
Oh.
I actually learned how to train doctors, and I would train staff and stuff on the printer. So I really think God had me there to learn about it because
Right.
I would have been lost. There was no way I could have done digital if I hadn't learned about it so much. So I think there's a reason for everything. And that's what brought me here. Was I missed doing it. I go to the dental school and I teach the ortho students 1 day a year. I teach them how to bend wire.
Wow. That's
So
awesome.
because they have to make their own retainers and they
Yeah.
don't get that exposure. So doing that, I was like, oh my God, I love this. This is great. So I realized how much I missed it. And so in our house, our neighborhood up there, you could not have a business in your house. And it was a very strict HOA. So we moved down here last year, or the year before. It was after I think we moved here 2021, March or May, something like that.
Okay.
And then we started construction on the lab. So, and that's when I talked to you and Tiffany. I was trying to get ideas on what programs, because there's just so much when you're trying to start a lab and it's so technical. You just don't know what goes together. What should you get? And y'all were the org in general, everybody has been such a big help. You have questions and we help each other. And I love that.
The Facebook group is probably it helped start this whole thing, because we were just on there, the digital started and everybody's like, wait, what printer is everybody using? And how do you get your files from the doctor? I mean, there's a lot of little things that you don't think about. It's like, oh, I'll just buy a printer, but how do you get the files? How do you base them? How do you name them? How do you, all that stuff. But you started having that experience by just setting them up in the doctor's offices or helping to set up, right?
Yes.
So you knew so exactly what you needed to have to get started.
Right.
So you're in Missouri City, and it's funny. I worked for an orthodontist in Missouri City up until last year, before I found out you were there, and I was having a hard time keeping up with him and shipping and all that stuff. So I passed him on to, I can't remember his name. He's gonna kill me though. He's in Houston. Ortho Pro is the lab name. We've been friends going to the conferences. I knew he was down there. I was like, hey, can you help out this doctor? So I wish I knew you were down there at the time, and I would have called you up.
Yeah, that's what I think is so great is you need help. And in fact, when I started, I haven't really done a lot of marketing yet. So I have one doctor who needed something done and my welder wasn't working. So I can't remember who I talked to, but I actually had to send it out to someone who's a member of the org, and I sent it to them so they could do it and send it to me, and I gave it to her. And I was like, I didn't do this, but so it's nice to have that help, that if you need something you can't do, outsource it. So so many people.
Yeah, a doctor asked for something I didn't know how to find the parts for, and I posted on Facebook, and Brian Nielsen was like, hey, I can do that for you. Just send me the screw and the thing, and I'll laser it on there for you and send it back. I was like, oh, awesome. He goes, send a few, and that way if you get them, you have a bunch ready to go. So I was like, oh, that's perfect. Yeah, same thing. For us small labs, it helps to have access to bigger labs, more experienced labs, to get work done. So you did you sent me pictures of this construction. So you started 2021, 2022?
Yeah, I think
it's when we talked.
Yeah, I think it was 2021, wasn't it? We talked in late 2021.
Was that 2021 we talked? That's not fair. Because I put the title as 2022 because I thought it was last year. I'll have to look that up.
I'm old and I don't remember nothing. I mean, you could tell me something now and I'll forget it in an hour. I was like, oh yeah, I was going to do that, so.
Oh, I blame COVID. Yeah. The long COVID, the brain fog you get. Yeah, I totally. And I had a doctor get mad at me because I was doing that. I was forgetting things. And then he got COVID and he was like, yeah, Kate, yeah, I understand now. I understand what you were struggling with.
And did he apologize? I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. She's like, I'm sorry. Yeah, I understand what you were going through. Yeah. And no, I'm sorry. It was a front office lady, and I think I missed a couple drop-offs. And she was like, Kate, I can't be changing these appointments, as they're coming in. And there's a ritzy part of the neighborhood, so these moms and parents were hard to deal with. And so I was like, I'm so sorry. And she's like, can't believe you. We just talked about it. And then she got COVID. And next time we talked to her, Kate, I understand. I understand. I can't think straight. I can't. She's
You
like,
don't
I'm
know
sorry.
until you get it. Yeah.
I know you were blaming COVID, and I didn't believe you. Because you were in the hospital last year. We were talking about before with COVID.
Yeah,
And,
I was still working at the digital place.
mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, I ended up in the hospital for a week with COVID, and luckily got out. But I still have the breathing problems. Like
Mm-hmm.
with this heat in Texas, I have a hard time going outside, even just walking to the car. I'm like dripping sweat, and I'm like, I feel like I just exercised, and I don't do that much.
To me, it's like opening an oven when you're baking something, and the heat
Yeah.
hits you in the face. That's like when you open the door, you're like, oh,
Yeah.
why? Why do I live in Texas?
Family. That's why I live here.
Yeah.
I can tell you that. Other than that,
Yeah.
we'd be somewhere else.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I don't know what the weather is opposite in Australia, or your winters were our summers, and our
Yeah.
summers were your winters. So that's interesting to think about. You got to
Yeah.
experience the other side of the bottom of the world, so to speak.
Yeah. But what was really cool was the weather was kind of like similar temperatures, but it didn't get this hot, but it wasn't humid, because in Houston it's pretty humid.
Yeah.
So yeah, the weather was up there was great most of the time. Yeah, it was really good.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. So we do
yeah.
have. So you started building this 2021, 2022. The room you're in now with the wonderful color on the walls. I got pictures you sent me.
Construction pictures. I didn't even think about construction.
Oh, well, I think you posted them on Facebook. I should have pulled them or something.
Yeah, I did. So yeah, I made it fun.
Yeah, your website's fun too. So if you go to,
I'm working on that. Isn't that awesome?
Yeah, I'm gonna pull that up.
I love it, and I thought, I wonder if I told him, is this too much? Because I love it just fits, and I want, if I'm gonna work in a place, I want it to be fun, because you're at work a lot. So when I painted the lab, I kind of took on the same theme.
Yeah, I didn't realize that until I went to your site earlier today, because I was going to put it in the notes, and I was like, oh my gosh. And then it does all this stuff. Let's see if I can go back. And then it splashes.
I know, isn't that awesome? That is like my favorite part. I just keep going back to that page.
Yeah, because I didn't realize. I was like, wait, did I just see her walls are the back of her? Yeah, let me go back to the home one. That was fun.
Yeah, I love that one. The other one, I'm still working on it. It's a work in progress. I'm still working on it. But yeah, I love it.
Yeah, but then you got the walls here, which I love the theme. You and Tiffany have like the best. I have white walls. You and Tiffany have like, she has like the beach theme and stuff, and you got retainer art splatter.
So
yeah.
Well, what we did was, when I had it painted, the contractor is actually a friend of mine. I've known him since I worked with the lady orthodontist way back when. So he does stuff at our houses, and he's a really close family friend. So I brought out the purple paint. He goes, "You want to paint it this color?" I went, "Yeah, I want it all that color." He goes, "Are you sure?" I went, "Yeah." And he said, "Why?" So I explained what we were going to do, and he was like, "I don't get it." I said, "Just paint it purple. It'll be fine." So then I had picked out little quarts of like 5 or 6 different paints, and I had my friends and my family come over. I was like, "Hey, we're going to have a paint party."
So, that's great. But get your family involved.
So it was fun, and they're like, "What do you want to do?" I was like, "We're going to take it and we're going to sling it on the walls." And they're like, "What?" So
these beautiful purple walls.
Yeah, so that's what we did. Is everybody was just slinging paint, and we got it everywhere. But that was the whole point. But yeah, it was fun to be able to include them, because they're supportive of everything too. So yeah, it was fun. I took a picture. Everybody had their own paint color, so I when I look at the paint, I think of them as well.
Oh, because each one has like the yellow is
Yeah,
somebody, and then the blue is somebody else, and that's neat. They put their own touch and a stamp
yeah.
of approval on. No, this half your garage,
It's
or
a
the whole
little
thing?
more than half. Yeah, it is a
Okay.
little more than half. So we took the back half of the garage.
Oh, you didn't split it down the middle. You split it front to
Yeah,
back. Okay.
yeah.
Okay,
That
that makes
way we
sense.
would still have room, for lawnmowers and stuff up front. So I just have a door. So the door is actually on my right. Yeah, on my right now. Um,
Let's see.
so
I think I got.
yeah,
There we go.
there's the door. So I have like everything is set up in little stations. So that is like my desk area with my computer and messy papers, and then the printing area. I
And
did
it looks like
shelf.
medals. What are those medals from running?
Oh yeah, when I was gone, where was I? I was at the hospital with my mom for a week, right? So I came home and he was like, "Oh, I put something up in your lab." I was like, "Okay," because that was actually in our office, which is really his office, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, he put my medals in my lab, and I was like, "Okay, yeah." So yeah, those are my 5K medals. I like to do
Oh.
5Ks only if they have fun medals.
Oh yeah, yeah. Let me see your medals first before I sign up.
Yeah. Actually, I have one that we did it's at Messina Hoff. So it's actually a wine bottle stopper. So I was like, oh, that's a cool one. I want to do that one. And
Oh, and see, my wife's getting back into running. We both ran track at college. That's where we met. Was on the track at college,
Aww.
and so we both ran track, but we were both burnt out.
Yeah.
She's doing better than me. Running hurts. I
I
don't.
can't outside. It's too hot.
Oh yeah, she waits till like 5 minutes before dark, and then goes and does her walk run real quick. Uh,
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah, so yeah, that's funny that y'all are both. So she's got her and our 7-year-old wears them around the house all the time. She's got something that we couldn't find them if we wanted to.
They're everywhere.
So you got your laser welder, the one that causes all your cuss words to come out,
Yes.
or did. That's
It still
awesome.
does sometimes. It still does.
Is that a Sunstone?
Yeah. It's
Perfect.
an 80, a laser 80. So yeah, I thought it would to have to duplicate and solder.
Yeah.
I wanted something that would save me time.
Yeah.
And I just think it's more reliable than soldering. It adheres better and it doesn't come apart. Sometimes soldered appliances come apart and
Right.
it needs the wires or messes up the expander screws. So I love having the welder. That was a big purchase, but it's really been worth it.
Yeah, I got the puck, which is a pulse arc. It's got an electrode.
Uh-huh.
But seeing Steve Zara's laser welding videos he puts on Instagram, like, ugh, I kind of want a laser welder.
Yeah.
It's just
Well, they do have a new one that just came out. So I think it's a 35 maybe. So it is smaller than this one. It is cheaper than this one, but it also does the exact same things. You still have
Oh,
so there is a new one out, and I can't remember how much it is, but that one came out after I had bought this one.
of course.
It's huge. So yeah, in a small lab, it takes up a lot of space, but it's very well worth it.
That's all. And you always find new uses for it. You're like soldered C class, laser welded C class. But you're like, oh, distal extension, laser welded distal extension. You start. Oh, you can almost do whatever you want, like you're in a machine shop and make your own thing.
Yeah, I think it's great, especially when you're doing, like you said, soldering a labial bow to an Adams clasp. You could do laser welding. You could do the acrylic, get it all polished up and pretty without the labial bow in place. It's so much easier, and then do your welding. It's really good.
Yeah, especially with labial acrylic and soldered C's. You always had to do them in a certain order if you were soldering because it could ruin the model and stuff like that. But now it's just put them on afterwards.
Yeah, it helps.
So we move on to the next station, it looks like. So that's Wait, where were we? Over here. Okay.
Oh,
That's the
yeah.
chair you're sitting in. And
Yeah.
then you got your acrylic, and your acrylic looks like my acrylic in my YouTube videos where I got the shelves and all of Priscilla's pretty acrylics up there on the shelf.
It's like a decoration. It fits my lab. I found
It
some shelves
does.
that are for nail polish. So they're iridescent. So they're like so pretty, they're girly. So yeah.
Oh,
So the
yeah.
shelves have waves on them.
I have a stack of nail polish that I put all the monomers on. So
Oh,
I didn't even think about it getting some that I can mount on the wall. That I might just have to do that.
but I love your lights you have in how you have the colored lights on
Oh
your
yeah,
cabinet. I
yeah.
love colored lights. And I thought, oh, can I put any in here somewhere?
Those overhead cabinets were given to me by another lab. They were pulling them out, and I was like, I want them, and I
Uh-huh.
kept them in storage for years. And so I was like, well, I have them, put them up, and then I'm like, it's casting a shadow on my
Yeah.
table. And so I was like, well, let me get this. They got all these new neon strip lights and stuff, and I found these I could control my phone. So
Oh,
they turn on at 8 a.m. and they turn off at 8 p.m. So I know I'm staying late in the lab when my lights start turning off. I was like, oh, what time is it? And my
yeah.
AC. So you have the mini split like I do, and I have mine on a timer. It turns on at 8 a.m., turns off at 8 p.m.
Oh, I wonder if
And
I have a timer. I need to check into that.
yeah,
That's a good idea.
you might
That way
have
you know it's time to leave. It's time to go eat dinner.
yeah. Oh, the AC turned off. You can instantly feel it when it turns off. You're like, oh, it's suddenly got 2 degrees hotter in here.
It's hot.
Yeah. So moving on down. Oh, I love the plier racks too. You'll have to send me a picture of what you use for that. Uh,
Oh
the
yeah, that's
so
just from Amazon.
that's so clean and organized. And then I have that fume controller, and I like the trimming box you have there. The clear. Did you build that?
No, at the lab we worked at, they had a box they had made. It was wood. So, it had the sides. It was open right here in the front. So I was telling my husband I wanted one of those so I could put the lathe and my handpiece in there so I could just, do that. But he looked and found that box on Amazon. So I
Oh,
was like, oh, so let me try it because I don't know if I'm going to like it or not. But I actually really do like it for my when I'm doing the handpiece because I have the suction hooked up to the back.
oh,
So
nice.
it keeps all of the dust in. So I'm debating how I want to do a box for my lathe because you do use the lathe sometimes and it does it's just in that one little pan. So I'm thinking I want to do a big box for the lathe, but I just didn't want it to get dusty because this is such a small area. um,
Yeah.
I'm trying
Same
to
same
keep
with
it
us. Yeah.
as clean. I like how you have 2 rooms. That works out great.
Yeah, when I knew digital, I'm glad digital came into my life before I built this, because then I knew, hey, I need to block it off, and because I always heard that the printers were sensitive
Yeah.
to dust, so you got to keep it under control.
Yeah.
My trimming box that my wife uses is called the Box Two at Castellango. A lot of people have, it, but they don't make them anymore.
Oh,
But I got the idea from Steve Zara. I drilled a hole in the side and
uh-huh.
passed my lathe into it, so it's just stuck into the side of my lathe, my trimming box.
Oh, that's not a bad
But
idea.
but the quick chuck handle's on the outside, so you got to reach outside to change. But we keep a big green wheel on it all the time anyway, so
Oh.
that make a big difference. And then I see a bed for your mascot. You called him your mascot, or
Either my mascot or my grandkids.
oh, there you go.
The grandkids were here. One of them was sick, and she didn't want to be in the house by herself. So I made a pallet, put my computer down so she could watch Netflix. And
Mm.
my mascot, one of my dogs, we have 3. One of them figured out we had a bed in here, so he'd come and lay down with her. So yeah, I still have that out
So,
here.
so they expect it now.
Well, just him. The other 2, he loves to be alone, and we got him first. So I know when we brought the second one home, he was like, ugh. So when we
Uh,
brought the third one home, and he's the hyper puppy. Yeah, so Foster's our first one. Foster likes to come be out. In fact, he will run to the door. If I'm walking that way, he runs to try to get in front of me because he needs a break from the other two.
Shut the door behind us, Mama. Don't let him in.
Yes, he does that.
That's awesome. And then your pressure pot, way better than the AquaPress.
Oh my gosh, I did buy one just in case the pressure pot went out because
that's a great idea.
Gotta have it, but yeah, and this isn't. I've always had the Great Lakes pressure pot, so this one is not a Great Lakes because it was always on back order. So I ordered a different brand, and it works. It's just different. So I even called them, and I felt so blonde because I called them, and I'm like, okay, I don't know how to depressurize this. How do you? I don't.
Oh.
So yeah, I was like, I want to return it because I don't want this one. And they're like, well, we've already used it. We don't know. So I had to figure out how to use it, which wasn't that hard. I just
you figured it out.
Yes. So I felt really blonde at that moment. So that
was
one of the blonde moments.
If it makes you feel better, I made my own pressure pot, and I have pictures of it. I'll have to share someday. And I went to Walmart and got like a pressure cooker you cook in, and it had all these safety valves, and pressure would release at 4 psi. We need it 22. So I took out all those grommets and I put a bicycle pump tire, air intake, and then all those holes, I took quarters and I JB welded the holes. and I had this on off. People at home, don't do this. I had this on off thing, and one time, to let the air in, it came in on the side like a Great Lakes, and you would have to pressurize it and watch it go up to 22 and then turn it off. Well, I think something happened I had it on a one of those cookers that you would go camping with or something that you plug into the wall like a hot plate, and I had it on a hot plate for the warmth, and I think it overheated or something, and it started like boiling on the inside.
Oh my gosh.
It was like 2 or 3 in the morning, and I'm sitting there working, and it's right beside me, and it goes boom, and the lid explodes, hits the ceiling, and the handle goes into 100 pieces. All the warm hot water dumps into my lap. So it scared me so bad. I don't know if that was warm water or pee or what it was, but my lap was all warm. I was like, I sat there and I went like this, and I went. I didn't tell my wife for a couple months because she found out because I was in the lab by myself. If she would have found out that the pressure pot exploded, but I got pictures of the lid was A-framed. So yeah, fair warning, people, don't build your own pressure pot at home. Use a professional one. But
even if you can, don't try it.
Yeah, now I use a Great Lakes one, and so I traded a silent dental compressor for it when I left my other lab. I was like, hey, I don't want to move this 200-pound air compressor. You can have it. I just want a steamer and one of your Great Lakes pressure pots. They're like, deal. It's like,
that
okay,
is an awesome deal. That's a good trade.
Yeah. So that pressure pot's very important, man, with production and everything, and teaching someone how to use the Great Lakes one. But once you know it, it's like it's easy to learn. But so I could see if I had a new pressure pot, I'm like, where's the depressurize? I got to get my retainer out. and then one more. No, yes. This one.
So that's my wire bending, my pouring, my trimming.
Oh, here we go. Yeah. And there's your 3D printers. So that's your trimming. Pumicing is over there by the sink.
Yep. Over there. I have a model trimmer. I didn't know if I needed one, but just in case.
I still use one. I don't make study models. Study models are dead to me. They were dead to me before they were dead to me.
I don't do those.
Yeah, I'd never liked those. They took too much time. But I do have a big dual wheel model trimmer I bought in 2004 or something. And I still use it because I like to use a certain model holder, and the stone models have to be trimmed to be able to use it. So I'll go over there and trim it real quick. And yeah, it's nice to have, but it's not necessary anymore.
No, thank goodness. Thank goodness.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm
So
still adding shelves. So I didn't want cabinets because I really didn't know how I wanted to lay out, the lab and stuff. So I've
yeah.
actually been adding stuff as I'm working. It's like, okay, I need a shelf here because I need to put, so I'm still adding stuff to it. I don't want to cover up, my pretty walls, but
Yeah. It's all cabinetry and you see just a little sliver.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's a great idea. Just as you need it, add it. And
yeah.
you build the perfect lab that way.
Yeah, so I'm getting it because, I kind of laid it out on paper how I wanted it, but you never know until you actually start working. So yeah, I've kind of moved things around because it'd been a while, but yeah, so it works out really good. My husband does hang my shelves, thank goodness, because I can't do that.
Right. Yeah, I hung all my shelves by myself, but I learned a trick from my dad back in the day how to do it by yourself. So, but and then I realized how bad my people who did my drywall, how bad, because it was like wavy. I put the cabinet up there and I could see a big swoop, and I'm like, oh my gosh! Now I got to put trim on there, and then like my table for where my sink is, it starts bowing out, or it bowed in the middle, so I got these gaps that it's a pain in the butt. But I got to do a lot of trim work as I go. So
Yeah.
I'm the same
As
way.
you have
Build it.
time, so
Yeah. Yeah. And when you have a bigger lab, things have to be ready to go like day one. You
Yeah.
can't be doing stuff like this. So it's kind of module to, you got a lot of flexibility when you're by yourself
Yeah.
in your own space, and you get to do it how you want to. But
Right.
so you do have 3D printers there, and I cannot tell the brand of those.
I have one Sprint Ray. I think if
Okay.
you show the door picture, you could see I have a Sprint Ray and I have a Flash Forge. I
Oh,
actually only bought the Sprint Ray because that's what I would train doctors on was the
okay.
Sprint Ray. I only bought the Sprint Ray so I could try to do, the printed splints.
Oh, yeah.
So I use the Flash Forge for everything. I love the Flash Forge. It's simple to use, and the resin is so much cheaper than the Sprint Ray. So
Well, we
yeah.
do have a question. So, Lori J, I'd like to go digital, but I have no idea where to start. Do you have any recommendations or information on where to start? Like, you have that experience of where do you start?
Well, I started with a list. I started, what if I'm going to make hollies, what do I need? And because it actually did take me a long time to figure out, because I price checked everything and where can I get stuff. So yeah, I did a list of what I need and where's the best place to buy it. And so I started there, and then talking to you guys, about programs. Did my computer go out now? So yeah, just trying to figure out what you need and where. That's really
Start with models. So
Yeah.
you probably need to print models. So if you're going, that forced me into, I had my largest client call me up in 2018. I bought a scanner and I was like, crap, I thought I had 2 more years. So luckily I was already on the Facebook, and a lot of them already had form labs. So I'm just going to do form labs because I can just ask one of the people that already have it. So
Yeah.
I know there are a lot of printers out there, and you like to use the Forge, but you have that wonderful digital experience beforehand. So start, like, if she wanted to just start with printing models, a Forge, a Sprint Ray,
I would go for the Flash Forge. The Flash Forge. It is half the price of the Sprint Ray. The model, the resin is just above $100, I think. So it's like half the price of the Sprint Ray. I love it. So simple to use. I love the Flash Forge, but I do have the advantage of where I used to work. So I got those from there, and they have a great support system. So whatever they sell, you can call them for support, because I had tried calling Sprint Ray I tried calling Sprint Ray for something, and it just couldn't get it right. So yeah, this is I love they really helped a lot. And
Well, you can shout out their name if you want, if they're still in business.
Oh yeah, they're still in business. They're in Magnolia. It's Voxel Dental Solutions.
Oh, Voxel, they were at the conference, weren't they? Yeah.
So I still talk to them, and but their whole team. They ask you, what do you want it for? So if you tell them, well, I'm opening a lab, they'll tell you, okay, they'll talk to you and walk you through, well, this system, this will work good, or that'll work good. So yeah, being there, I had the advantage of learning about the machines. In fact, the Flash Forge was a totally different machine when they first brought it into Voxel. And they worked with Voxel to make changes to make it what they wanted. So that was really, really great that they made these changes that really helped make the machine what it is. So
nice.
But their support team is just the best. So yeah, I still have issues, and I'll say, hey, Derek, what happens? What do I do on this? And so yeah, it's been great.
Well, that's nice to have someone you can talk to. Sometimes you just need someone to talk to.
Yeah.
And so this is they are actually an ORG sponsor. So I'm glad you said their name. Yeah, to shout them out. They're a sponsor, and I feel like they're on the back of our shirts as a sponsor. Yeah. And so there's their website if y'all want to call them and say that Kathy sent you, and Kathy gets a $1,000 kickback for. I'm kidding. That's not real.
I just go for free resin,
Yeah. Oh, that's huge. Whenever I first started with Form Labs, they had a referral process, and so I had my YouTube channel, and so people would message me, "What are you using?" I was like, "Well, I have this code, and it gives you $500 off, and it gives me $500 off my resin." And I don't think they do that anymore because I pretty much abused that system. I was like, you buy one, you get $500 off your printer. Oh. And so yeah, that was great. So that's we got some more comments. Let's see if any follow-ups here. Flash Forge, is that the question mark? Is that
that's
how you
spell?
One. Okay.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah,
and Voxel
Dental Solutions. Yeah.
Yeah. So if here is there. Hopefully you can see that. It's voxeldental.com is the website, and then there's the phone number if you want to pause the live stream so you can screenshot that.
Yeah, they really helped a lot if you're trying to get into digital and you don't know much about it, because I hadn't a clue. So really, when I was training, doctors on the Sprint Rate, I learned so much, and that was really helpful. And that's what they do is they give you get support, but you get continued support. You don't get support just because you're setting it up. So, and that's a big thing because, later on something's going to happen and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, what do I do?
I broke it.
Yeah, I have broken things before. So
yeah. Well, that's awesome. I'm so glad we got to shout them out. And if y'all don't know this, if y'all are members, you can actually, if you're logged in, let me see if I can. You can actually recommend Voxel Dental Solutions. So if you're logged in, and I meant to say this, membership renewals, check your email, check your spam. If you're up for if you're on auto renewal, should automatically charge your card. But if not, you can go to member login right here, or actually go to my account, and you can log in there, and it will. I don't know my password.
Yeah, we need that auto stuff.
Yeah, I didn't save it. So yeah, there's my profile. So you can set up your own profile, but then if you're in the member directory, and you go to any lab, or so you go to Voxel and you hit that, and then you can go recommend, and then they get a thumbs up from you.
I will have to go do that.
Yeah, go do that. Give them a recommendation, and so then when people see the membership directory, if I clear this out, and you go down to see. There's a destination that got a recommendation from somebody,
Oh, cool.
and so did Dobson Ortho and Excel, and JBC and Company got a recommendation, got a
Oh, I
thumbs
love
up.
JVC. They're awesome.
Yeah. Uh, so if I go now down to Voxel, there's a
Oh,
recommendation. So if you're looking for a company to buy from, go to this page first and look for them. There's Whitmix, there's Voxel, there's uh, they're all in there together with us as
yeah.
members. Leone. So
Oh, yeah. Oh, that is, I did not know that. Very cool.
yeah, so a little extra feature there for everybody. So well, we are in. Oh, we went over an hour. I try to
Oh,
keep them at an hour so people can get back to work. Or most likely, everybody's wire bending right now watching this.
that's what I do.
Yeah, and so we both probably need to get back to wire bending. But
Yes.
Kathy, thank you for jumping on and telling us your story. I really appreciate that.
Well, this is great. And if anybody needs help, starting a lab, it is kind of overwhelming. I think the org is a great place to start, ORG, because everybody helps everybody.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, we got another question. John, looking forward to 5-10 years. Where do you both see the market for independent labs? Ooh, bring out your crystal ball.
Yeah, hopefully growing.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be awesome.
Well, as the technology, technology is introduced, it's very expensive. So 2012, 2013, 14, we had the Stratasys printer, and it was, a printer was $100,000. Then it
Yeah.
became 40,000. Then it's 5. Then it's 3. Now you can get one on Amazon for $500. The price keeps coming down. Technology keeps getting better. So small independent labs like us have to kind of sit back and wait. So laser sintered bands, you and I can't afford that right
No.
now.
Oh, gosh.
But there are companies that came out there. One is Dean 3D Digital, and they only work with labs, which is great. So you can with digital, you can send your file to them. They'll print it and send it back. So I think in the future, at least 2 years from now, maybe in, I say 10 years, we're gonna 3D print our model. We're gonna 3D bend our wire, and
Yeah,
maybe even 3D print our acrylic, and then it's gonna take a dental technician to assemble all those together, QC it, make sure it works, and then send it out. And
that
that's
would
kind of
be
where I see.
awesome. Yeah,
Yeah,
that would be great.
and maybe we got our own tiny little laser centered printer. We got our own. I don't know how much that wire bending machine is. Some of the larger labs have it. So that's kind of where we're at right now. The larger labs have the laser centered bands and have the 3D wire bend. One of our first interviews was Brandon, uh, and he talked about having the robot wire bender. I don't think we're going away, but I think we're going to be able to do a lot more with the technology that's out there. It's just going to cost a lot.
We have to
So,
wait for the price to come down.
yeah,
Definitely.
have to wait for the price to come down, or join the ORG, make friends with other labs out there, and then they can help you do your work, and you can help each
Outsource.
other out. Yeah,
Yeah.
because some labs will buy a laser centered and go, hey, I need to make some ROI on this.
Yeah.
So let me do your work, and I'll give you a price break. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, that's kind of where I see our market is very digital, but still need that hands-on aspect to it to assemble, to finalize
Yeah.
the project. So Lori said, found your website too. I'll check it out. So I think she's talking. I don't know if she's talking about Voxel or your Paint Splash website. Either one.
Well, hopefully the fun one.
Well, let's look as we're finalizing. 1 year from now, where do you want your lab to be?
I would like to be a little bit busier. And maybe in a year, I'm also training my daughter to help out.
Oh,
So right
awesome.
now she does my IDBs when she's available because she has a job and 3 kids. But she does the IDBs. And so I'd like to be able to have one person in here.
Yeah.
but I don't want to be I just want to be big enough to be happy, have a
I'm the same
good
way.
balance, but have someone to do it with me, because it does get kind of boring when you're out here 3 o'clock in the morning by yourself.
Yep, yep.
So, but yeah, that's where I'd like to be in a year, is be busy enough to need one other person.
Yeah, that's a great way to put that, and keep it in the family. I
Yeah,
think during the summer, my sons started working for me. My two
I
sons,
saw
13,
that.
17. Yeah, and my 17-year-old's a senior, and he's on career prep, and so he gets out of school an hour early to come and
Oh,
work. So he comes in and he does all my 3D digital printing because he learned that
yeah,
fast. So hiring from the family, and they're in that younger generation where they grew up with the internet and the computers, it was so easy for him to pick up on that and just take
yeah,
off with it, and I don't have to worry about that
yeah.
much anymore. So yeah, that's oh, here we go. John said, "Great answer, thank you. Thanks for doing these broadcasts as well." Yeah, you're welcome. I enjoy doing them. They're selfish of me because I like talking to the other labs and seeing how
Well,
they
this
got
is
started too.
actually, it's been fun. I really enjoyed this. This is great.
Yeah, yeah, and talking with people like Priscilla and hearing her amazing background.
Oh my
Uh,
gosh, yes.
yeah. So watch that one next if you haven't seen it. That was last. And then if you want really good entertaining, watch Brandon from Cottonwood's second episode, and then you can figure out, was he a meth lab or not? And is there a brothel next door?
I never had anything exciting to add like he did. I was like,
I
mine's gonna
know.
be so boring, because his was great.
Yeah, you sent those pictures and you were like, sorry, I don't have a meth lab next door.
Yeah,
It's not
I don't
exciting.
have anything fun.
And so, found Voxel, retainer designer. Oh, that's me. And ORG websites. Yay, so excited. So,
Awesome. I'm so glad, Lori. That's great.
yeah, it's awesome. So, hopefully, we'll see you on future broadcasts. And again, we try every Friday at noon to go live. If not, I try to pre-record and then play it live on Friday. So I'm working my way through the board of directors and all the people that have helped with the ORG and the website, or and the conference, which we'll both be at the conference next year. I do have that. I might as well. Let's see. I have it here. It is, save the date. The next conference is April 5th and 6th at the Westin. New location, bigger location because we outgrew the other one. Dallas, Fort Worth. And this is a place where like 50 ortho labs from across the nation, Canada. We had someone from Australia one year, and all over the world come, and we get together, sit in the same room, and discuss our problems, because all of our problems are the same when we get in the
No
same
matter
room.
how big or small you are, but yeah, and it'd be great for new people to come in, because we're starting to do some hands-on classes, and you could learn so much from everybody who speaks, because they're so open with giving you help and information. So yeah, anybody who's new to ortho or ortho lab, this is a great place to come get plugged in.
Yeah, yeah, and a lot of people got their start here, and I think Tiffany hired her first 2 employees from 2 of the other attendees that came looking for work. So sometimes you can
That's
find
awesome.
employees, some really good employees, because if they're willing to come to a conference just to find jobs, they are already a warm lead for this industry.
Wow.
So, and just meeting people and then being able to connect with them later on and have them 3D print your stuff.
Yes.
it's great. Yeah. So, that being said, yeah, we'd love to go. Oh, we'd love to have you. Details are coming soon. So yeah, April 5th and 6th, just save it in your calendar right now. And when is our conference call coming up? September, right? Our next conference call.
The 7th, I think. It's the first
The
Thursday.
7th? Yeah, so we should come out with some more dates, some more data after that meeting. So we're having a meeting that Phil, one of the other people I interviewed, is putting on to coagulate. Oh, that's a gross word. To collaborate all the data together. Yeah. So yeah, we would. Oh, Jacob. Yeah, she hired me 2 weeks after the conference. That's the one that came to the conference.
Oh my gosh, that is awesome, Jacob.
Yeah. Tiffany hired him and one other, and so He's been working there ever since. So that's
Well,
awesome. And
we would love to see Jacob and see y'all both. At the
Lori,
conference.
yep,
Lori,
yep,
I'm bad with names. I forget everything. But yeah,
yep.
it'd be great to meet you in person. So yeah.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. So I'm going to end it there. And Kathy, stay on the line. We got to finish the recording.
Okay.
So I'll end it there. So until next week, I will see you all. And y'all have a great week. And be safe out there if y'all are in the heat. So
Have fun
until then.
wire bending.
Yep. All right. See y'all later.